Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're going to take a look at the PlayStation Vita and the PlayStation Vita Slim. Now, these are two different models of the same system. Everything that works on the Vita will work on the Slim, and vice versa. Let's take a look at the sizes. Here's the bottom of it. Here's the top of it. Here's the sides. Now, there's a couple of key differences between these two systems. For one, this one has better battery life and uses a non-proprietary micro USB or mini USB or micro USB. It's the same one that so many of like speakers and stuff that I have use. And then the other one uses a proprietary one. You see, this one uses that and this one uses that. I have a bunch of stuff, including the controllers for the PlayStation 4 that use this. Nothing uses this, and there's a problem with these particular cables where they're a little weak on the ends. And because of that, finding original equipment for it is a little tougher. In fact, most of these cables die horribly, similar to what happens with some Apple cables. The PlayStation Vita Slim actually has kind of a one-up on that. Also, the Vita Slim has better battery life than the original Vita, and redesigned buttons and triggers, and the little back touch panel is significantly smaller. Now, let's actually talk about the main difference between these two. Aside from this one being slim, kind of a more plasticky build, less metal. This one's metal and plastic, and then it also has like this one in particular. You could put a SIM card in it, and that was never anything useful. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the big key difference between these: the screen. We're going to turn this off for a moment. This light. Oh, come back on. Okay. See, here. Let's go ahead and do it this way. What I'm going to do is, this one has an OLED screen. This one has what seems to be an IPS LCD screen. It keeps turning off because the Vita doesn't like to be on for some reason. Oh, one thing I find kind of amusing about these is that the logo lights up on this, whereas on the top you've got kind of a Nintendo 3DS style green and data light. Okay, let's go ahead and pull through. I've got different images I'm using for this. And for this, we're going to go ahead and detach this from the tripod, specifically to show off the differences in the screens. The one on the right is an OLED screen, and the one on the left is an IPS LCD screen. Okay. You'll note there's not too much of a difference between them, but when you move to the left, to the right, one thing I noticed on this is actually there's a bit of a bluing to the there's a blue hue to the OLED screen. Now we've got this set up so we can go and cycle between several different pictures, to the left and to the right. To the left and to the right. There's slightly deeper blacks on the OLED screen, of course. Left and to the right. Left and to the right. That's for like Knit Underground. Like, let's take a very close look at this. Is the OLED screen, and this is the IPS screen. Okay, moving one more time. Here we go. There's characters from Dragon's Crown. You won't notice, actually, too much of a big difference between the two. One is slightly darker, slightly deeper blacks. But their viewing angle isn't much different, which is kind of a nice thing. Again, OLED, and LCD. OLED, LCD. One more. OLED, LCD. Again, OLED, LCD. Left and right. We're showing this with static images, which have a diversity of color. On some of these, you can tell a clear difference between the two in terms of, well, blue depth. On something black and white, we'll note that there is a slight blue tinge to the OLED screen in comparison to the IPS screen. Again, this is because the blue levels on the OLED screen are oversaturated. And the reason for that is because OLED screens, the blue tends to die over time, meaning in about 3 to 4 years with constant use, an OLED screen will have a dead blue level, meaning all of the pictures will look a lot warmer than they're supposed to. To combat that, they oversaturate the blue. There you go. Personally, between the two, I kind of like the lighter feel and better buttons of the PS Vita Slim. And there really isn't too much of a difference between the color depths between these. They're using a SteamWorld Dig image for our, see, there it is on OLED, and there it is on LCD. These are just different backgrounds. Fez. Lots of blue in this one. And Persona 3. Moving forward a bit. Some one of the better characters in Persona 5. We can argue about that all day. And some Portal fan art that I liked. This is actually my background on my computer for the longest time. Make sure you're watching this on the highest resolution possible, so that on full screen, so that you can get a good feel for how this looks. Again, the bottom one is the OLED screen, and the top is the LCD screen. And here they are with the light. Ah, the light. Let's go back. You can see that the OLED screen is just slightly more vibrant in the blue department. Overall, it kind of doesn't matter. You're going to have a longer lasting screen and easier to replace battery. And well, one thing I want to note about the Vita, I really liked the Vita, but it never really had a chance to take off. And this is kind of an odd thing that they did with the Vita. They dropped the 3G stuff, which you could put a SIM card in this side, and there's this mystery slot right here that never got used for anything. It's actually a mystery thing. I think it was for connecting it to a TV, but that was never released. Overall, if you're in the market for a Vita, it's easier to find the OLED ones because they're more plentiful. But it might be worth it to track down a Vita Slim, especially if you're a person who doesn't like the initial weight of the Vita. As far as screen colors and contrast go, you might just be better off with the Vita Slim. But that's just my opinion. They're both really good looking, and they're really good looking screens. They're really sharp, and as far as I can tell, there's not any blurring or anything. But the Vita Slim, it's easier to access the game card. It's easier to access the memory card. There's built-in memory. What's weird about it, though, is there's built-in memory on both of these systems. However, The OLED Vita, the way it's designed, you can't access that 1 gigabyte of information, whereas you can use it as a memory card on the Vita Slim, which was, kind of low if you ask me that Sony went ahead and did that. But yeah, if you're in the market for a Vita, good luck finding one, and good luck trying to find a slim one, because they're a little bit tricky to find nowadays. In fact, when I went and got this one from GameStop, they were telling me how they actually had not gotten a new Vita in a while. If you're looking though for if you're looking for a Vita, you're gonna have to import it. Really. Now they come in yellow, red, blue, black, white, all sorts of different colors, and there's all sorts of special editions in Japan. But the Vita is region free, so it doesn't hurt to import one in. The only thing that might be a little off-putting at first is that on an import one, you agree to things by hitting the O button, the circle button, instead of the cross button, which is the opposite of the United States. But yeah, if you're looking for a Vita, don't feel bad about getting one of the slim ones. You might be getting a better deal. Also, check out that screen. There's really not too much of an issue or difference between the two of them. It's actually very surprising. Well, you can see slightly deeper black levels on the OLED one, but at the end of the day, you can get this one in all sorts of different colors. So what do you think? Which Vita would you want to pick up? The OLED one or the Slim with slightly better battery life? I mean, 2 extra hours and more versatility in charging options, and much better color options in terms of the casing. Which would you go for? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the video. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that share button if you haven't already. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you can get informed whenever we put out a new video. And until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.
I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.